always, for joy, we go to the mayor of Shredville, also the head coach of your UC Davis Aggies, heard right here on Sactown Sports. Tim Plough. Coach Plough, good morning. How are you?
Boys, how we doing?
Great.
Good.
Yeah.
You? Yeah?
Awesome.
Well, that was the whole interview.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, thanks for your time.
That's it. Yeah, all right, thanks. See you next week.
Before we get into the game, I saw something on the social medias yesterday that caught my eye. You'll recall a couple weeks ago, you gave what we thought was just a tremendous answer on accountability, and you listed off all the things that you felt like you could improve on as a coach from a game. And it was super cool, and we shared that. And then yesterday, I'm scrolling through, and I see you being asked a question that is, in this day and age, an incredibly popular question, especially for successful coaches. Now, I would imagine, number one, you got to take it as a compliment, because 2 and 8 coaches aren't like, well, hey, you're looking to move up, but you're a successful coach. You've created and with your team this environment. And then you gave not this once again, like the accountability question, Coach, not the standard answer that's, a 15-second soundbite, which would have been fine. You gave an over 3-minute answer just detailing how difficult it would be for you to be pried out of here because of how I took it, how hard you and your team have worked, your coaching staff top to bottom, on just creating this environment for the future and for now at UC Davis. I thought it was great, Coach.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, I think, it's just one of those things where in coaching, my wife and I always laugh, like, if you're doing really poorly, you're going to have to move. And if you're doing really well, everybody always wants you to move. So It's like, what does everybody want you just to be average? And then nothing, you don't have to move, or nothing happens. And so I think the thing that we care about more now, that we've kind of gone through the coaching thing, is the environment that we're in, the people that we're around, and we just, Davis is not your typical stop for my wife and I. We both went to school here, and we chose to come here to really help grow this place and raise our family. And so we've already, made that decision as a family. And so even though we're having success and there's, if there's interest from other places, it is really flattering, because it just, like you said, it means we're doing really well. But I guess I just look at things a lot differently than the typical coach, because, from a financial standpoint, they're always going to be able to throw money at you. But if the environment and the people aren't right, it can really lead to some awful situations too.
Well, I think it's fascinating, and I'll give you one follow-up, but I don't want to, I'm not trying to get you in trouble or make headlines. I just think it's when we're talking to somebody like you who's such an open book, I do think it's interesting to get into your head on that, because I imagine you've got to kind of look, you just had a big birthday in June. You're a young man. You got a lot of coaching years ahead of you. And do you, in your head, you go, okay, do I want to, I'm just saying, Alabama, LSU, name the crazy school that calls. And, of course, it's a never say never. I understand that. But then you also have the Bobby Bowdens of the world. You've got I wouldn't say Saban, but Bear Bryant's of the world. You've got, we could list on and on and on coaches. And I'll use Bowden because I'm very, very familiar with Florida State. When he took over, they were a decade plus being removed from being an all-women's school. And he literally built that program from the ground up, and that's his thing. So in your mind, with your life ahead of you, are you trying to balance the whole, well, do I answer the call of the wild someday, or am I retiring at 73 years old, having been the Bobby Bowden or Nick Saban of UC Davis, and now all these generations to come will be able to build off of the foundation myself and my partners have set up? That's got to be an internal dialogue for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I look at like the mentors that I have, the people that are really close to me that have shaped me to be the coach I am. And so you're talking about Jim Soker, who stayed at Davis for 20 years, and Bob Biggs, who stayed at Davis for 20 years, and Chris Peterson, who stayed at Boise for a really long time, and then went to Washington for a long time and retired. And so all the people that have been really influential in me are not the guys that have coached at 20 different places. And that's not to say the guys that have are bad coaches, but the people that have influenced me, they have always taught me, like, you coach where you're at, like you're never going to leave, and you're trying to build something that is going to be sustainable for a long time. But you also can't say that you're never going to leave, because you really don't know what happens in the future, or what's coming down the road, or there's just so many changing things. So that's why I was saying it's really irresponsible for me to say, oh, I'm never leaving, I love this place, because I don't know, the athletic director, the administration, the football program. There's got to be a lot of things that continue to be aligned with you that keep you where you're at. And so my thought is always, not that there's an internal struggle, but it's like, hey, if something comes along one day that my wife and I are like, oh, that's a great opportunity and we can continue to do what we want to do, okay, that's a different conversation. But most of these situations are not going to be better than the one that I have, other than the fact they're going to pay me a lot more money. And so if all you can tell me is I'm going to pay you more, then that's not the place for me. If you can tell me that you can do the things that we want to do, that we believe in, then that's a different story. And I think that's where the coaching thing can get guys in trouble, because you see the paycheck and the quick fix maybe financially, but then you get yourself in a really tough career spot, and that's what we're trying to avoid.
Talking with UC Davis head football coach Tim Plough. Coach, speaking of not knowing the future, as of now, there's no Causeway scheduled for next year or to come, because Sac State's leaving the Big Sky. You were a player there. You've been a coach there. Now you're the head coach at UC Davis. What does, hearing that, knowing that this Saturday for the time being is the last Causeway on schedule?
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously bummed out that that's kind of the way things are headed. But, the way I'm talking to the team and the way as far as I'm concerned, this is the last one we're ever going to have, because I just don't see a way where that's going to change anytime soon. So, I'm looking at it more like I'm super fortunate, man. I'm so thankful that I am here for the final Causeway ever, because, this will be the 16th or 17th one that I've been a part of, and it's a really important part of my life, and a game that means a lot to me. It means a lot to the community of Davis and Sacramento. Both teams are having good seasons, and so I just feel really lucky to be a part of it, knowing it'll be the last one, and even though that's a bummer, and at least I get to be here for it, and I think that's the thing that we're trying to focus on, is just be joyful and thankful for being able to be a part of that last rivalry game, and hopefully we can play well enough to keep the trophy.
Yeah, just one thing as a follow-up. I know you've told us all year you either win or you learn. And what have you learned, not necessarily about the loss last week, but the loss of players you've had? You've had so many injuries, Coach, you've been telling us about. What have you been able to learn about your team, your staff, your players going through all the loss of players due to injury?
Yeah, it's been a crazy year. We've had 16 season-ending injuries, and, we only, I think, 5 All-Americans out for the year, and we only dressed 55 players against Montana State, and you can dress as many as you want, and we could only dress 55. So I think the thing I've learned the most from that is how resilient your team can be if you build resilience throughout the year. We have our pyramid that we live by, but our leadership gets to pick a couple words that they want to define their team. One of the words they picked before the season even started, they picked this in January, was resilience. They wanted to be a resilient team. And so we tried to build that in our off-season training. And if you talk about that and build it, your team will continue to fight. And I've been so proud of the team, because the staff, obviously, every Sunday, Monday is thinking, how the heck are we going to win this game? We don't have enough players to play. And all the players think is, hey, we're going to get this done. And if you can build belief, then maybe you lose great players, but then other players step up. And the fact that they've been able to put themselves in a spot to compete for the conference championship and, try to make a playoff run and all these things with all they've faced is really a tribute to the players for their commitment to that. So basically it's taught me, don't give up. Just because a couple of guys get hurt doesn't mean things aren't going to work out. You just got to keep coaching all the players, and if you get them ready to play, they'll give you everything they have, and you can still win games.
That's Coach Tim Plough. Causeway Classic this weekend. Hopefully not the last one, but either way, going to be a battle a lot on the line. Coach, good luck this weekend. We'll talk to you next week and recap it all.
Boys, now I just got to make sure we're on the same page here. Are you guys rooting for the Aggies or the Hornets in this game?
So Jason is the play-by-play voice.
I know he is. That's why I'm like, hey, where are we at here? Because I feel like we are family, right? Like we're together on this.
So Jason's the play-by-play voice, so I think he's got to step out. Chris went to Sac State, so he just gave me the Stingers up sign. But Coach, you know what? You know what I say, Coach? I say Stingers down. I say Stingers down. Let's go. Yeah. Aggie time, baby. Let's make it happen. Find some joy this weekend, Coach.
I love that. I appreciate you. And Chris, Jason, no offense. I appreciate you guys. I just won't talk to you one day out of the year.
We'll talk to you next week, Coach. Good luck.
All right, boys.
Take care. I should have done the thing where, my wife's going to Sac State, right? I did